Hi, today we're going to make Albondigas soup. It's a Mexican meatball soup, similar to the Italian wedding soup. It's really good, and I thought, what is something that I haven't canned before, but I really love, and that would be canning safe. And I came up with the Albondigas, and the only modification we're going to use is typically we'll use rice and we'll put it in the meatballs and we'll cook it that way. But since you can't can rice, I'm going to omit the rice. And when we prepare the soup, I'll put it in the soup then. The only other modification I'm going to make is I'm not going to include zucchini in mine. One, because I don't have any zucchini. I don't grow zucchini because our family doesn't eat zucchini. It makes meals heartier for sure. But in this case, I'm kind of not confident how the texture would be too if I canned it. I don't want it to be mushy. So I'm just going to omit the zucchini and the rice, but everything else will be a traditional recipe.
This is the recipe I'm using to roughly base it off of.
First, we're going to get started with, I'm going to chop the onions and the cilantro. I've already prepped the carrots, potatoes, and celery. I decided typically we don't put celery in ours, but since we're omitting the zucchini, why not? Let's get started. I am cheating and using my chopper, especially chopped onions. And I'm making enough for 7 quarts because that's what my canner can is 7 quarts. You can always modify the recipe to fit your family size. Now for the cilantro. I was just going to give it a rough chop. I'll just make sure the majority of the stems are off. There's going to be some stems left. I had this little herb thing, and we're going to try it. I guess it saves on my fingernails. So you just find the hole it matches to, and then just slide it through, and it's supposed to just take the leaves off, but that one it didn't. Okay, so now we're going to start and we're going to make our meatballs. But to this, we're going to add some onion, half a cup of cilantro, some garlic, 2 teaspoons of garlic, two teaspoons of oregano. Half of this is actually from my garden that I dried. I have a video if you want to see that. And then I have another video of me, aren't these containers cool? I have another video of me reorganizing my spice, and see how the lid has the shakers, so you can easily use them while still utilizing your mason jars. So oregano, half a teaspoon of salt, and because we're canning, this is canning salt. You don't want to use table salt, iodized salt for this. If you were just making the soup, that'd be okay. But for canning, we need to use the canning salt. And then a teaspoon of cumin. A half teaspoon of pepper, and I actually read that wrong. It was 1.5 teaspoon of salt. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back in the salt and get the teaspoon because I got the half. And normally, if you're eating this fresh, like tonight's dinner, that you'd put in the egg, put 2 eggs in, and then rice. So, and then you mix it together. But since we can't can dairy rice, this is what we're gonna go. It's still gonna be great. It's still gonna be great. So now I'm just gonna mix all that in. Okay, so now that I have the meatballs rolled out, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil in my pan. And in batches, I'm going to cook each side because when you sear the sides, it holds in the meat, and so it just doesn't become, it just gives it a better texture when you can. While we're getting ready for that to heat up, we're starting on the soup. We're going to add the 2 quarts of beef broth. And since we're pressure canning, the spices can always be modified. Let's see if this is, yeah, we'll put these in here. Let's put one more because I don't want to overcrowd the pan. 1 cup of onion. 1 cup of carrots. I just had baby carrots, so I just cut those up. And then I have celery. And then I have the potatoes. And now I'm going to place these in the soup with it. I have 1 tablespoon of pepper. A little under 1 tablespoon. That kind of seems like a lot. Two big things, probably 2.5 tablespoons of cumin. My 2 tablespoons of salt. Go ahead and flip these, see if they're ready. Yep. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have canned meatballs before and beef broth because I wanted to do like a ground beef stroganoff type of meal. And I wanted to be able to use it in like spaghetti. But the texture just wasn't there for me. It was pretty. So we're gonna do 1 1 tablespoon of oregano. And the rest of this garlic. Which is like 1.5 tablespoons. Probably should add more garlic. So we'll taste it and we'll see if you need to add anything to it. And I'll be back. I'm gonna add 2 cans of tomatoes in here. My tomatoes from my garden are just fruiting, so I don't have any of those. I would add them in here. We're also gonna add the rest of our cilantro. Once these are done, when you put them in the soup right now, you can see I turned it on high. I'm just bringing it to a boil. And I want to boil the soup for 5 minutes only. And then I'll get my canner ready with my water in it, get that warmed up. And then we will start to fill the jars. With the hot soup, we're going to place in the hot water in the canner. Okay, I turned the soup down because it boiled for 5 minutes, and then I taste tested it, and then I actually added a half a tablespoon of cayenne because I like a little kick to mine. And also it'll really marinate when it gets canning. When it's done, they'll sit and marinate. That's why they tell you after, if you can pickles, you let them sit, or any pickled item, you let them sit for 2-3 weeks, and the flavors marinate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna can it up. These are my clean jars. I'm gonna go in and try and get the meatballs and solids in first. Okay, now we're gonna debubble. And then top off the liquids to an inch headspace for soups. Make sure all the solids are beneath the liquid. This last one has too much in it, so I'm just gonna take some of this solid out, put it in this one. We're gonna wipe the rims with vinegar because of the oil and the meat, hamburger meat. Ooh, these are warm. Now the lids. And I'm just gonna place them in my canner that's been going. It's warm right now. Make sure they're not touching. See through this, make sure you can see through it. Make sure your gasket's on right. Make sure your V is lined up with the V. And now we're gonna bring this up. So we're gonna 10 minutes venting time out of this, 10 minutes it vents, and then we'll bring you back. Okay, we're getting a steady airflow, so I'm gonna hit the timer for 10 minutes. Once that's done, we're gonna put the weight regulator on it until it gets up to 11 pounds, and then we'll start the 90 minutes for the quarts. But right now, started the 10-minute countdown. Okay, so the timer went off. It's been venting 10 minutes. Okay, now we're gonna wait for the gauge to come up to 11 pounds. And wait for it to come up to 11 pounds. Okay, my pressure's come up to 11 pounds. It's actually 12 pounds. Turning it down so I could get it. Since we have quarts, we are going to set our timer 90 minutes. Okay, so I took the lid off, let them cool down before I start to take them off. Ooh, scared me.